Hello, I'm Steve Shenk. Right now, many of you are dealing with life-threatening preparedness ripoffs you might not even be aware of. As a result, about 80% of the food storage programs are actually more dangerous than having no food stored at all. The polar vortex winter freeze, the western wildfires, the news media government predictions of food shortage, and extreme food cost increases have raised questions for many folks over the adequacy of their food storage programs. After 30-plus years in emergency preparedness, I can tell you that if you have bet your life on food supplies measured by calories, servings, number of people, days of food, or one-year quantities, there's a greater than 80% chance that you have much less food than you thought you paid for. Misdirection, misrepresentation, and misunderstandings can be life-threatening. Those who have no food stored at least know they have nothing. But those that believe they have a good supply, who have been shortchanged, are in real danger. Folks also fall easy prey to concepts like, if you're hungry enough, you can eat anything, and if you're in survival mode, you don't need as much food as you normally do. Both of these concepts are spoken only by people who have never been that hungry or had to survive. Why do we typically not catch these problems until it's too late and we're in the middle of a mess? Because food storage is not something we take home and anxiously open to play with. We store it away, just in case, hopefully long past the time to complain or return it. You see, what you don't know can hurt you. Let's look at some of the areas in which you need to be careful. Food storage programs based on calories. If you count the calories in 1 cup serving of chicken and rice casserole compared to 1 cup serving of sugar-based breakfast drink, basically flavored sugar water, there are a lot of calories in each. However, if each cup is considered a meal in your storage program, you have a problem. Servings are used to calculate quantities in food storage programs. The traditional food industry standard for a serving is 1 cup. Over the last 4 years, with the influx of so many new players in the food supply marketing, about 80% of food storage suppliers are using considerably less than 1 cup for their meal measurement. Many are calling 1/2 cup of food a meal. It sounds pretty skinny, doesn't it? Even more worrisome is that some of those half-cup meals are sugar drinks. Meals? Number of people fed is another way of calculating the quantities going into food supply packages. They're made up based on the number of people they're intended to feed. However, 4 people actually means 2 adults and 2 children is different than 4 adults. Now, if you try to feed a 5-member family from a supplier that measures 3/4 of a cup of food for an adult and 1/2 cup of food for a child, you'll be feeding 2 adults and 3 children a meal consisting of 3 cups of food. Heaven forbid you'd be feeding teenagers. Now, how about the number of days in a food program? With the calorie flim and the serving size flam mixed with the number and combination of people and how much they eat, we have a formula of uncertainty which spells potential disaster with the strong warning to be careful. Here's a simple exercise and evaluation of your present supply which will solve your problem and give you some peace of mind. If you already have some supply, first go to your storage, get out a couple of your entrees, and cook them up. Then determine how many of the listed servings that it took for you to make up a meal. Then do the same thing for 1 or 2 of your breakfast recipes. Now you know how many servings for your particular supplier it takes for you to make up a meal. Now simply multiply that number of servings by the number of meals needed during the period of time for which you wish to prepare. To make sure your actual food measurement is accurate, check your supply to see how many servings do not qualify as actual meals and subtract those servings from your food storage quantities. For example, if your supply lists 1,000 servings but 150 of them are made up of breakfast drinks, milk, and items you wouldn't consider a meal, your actual food supply consists of 850 servings, which can be divided into meals for your preparedness. Now that you've been forced to taste your food in the process of determining how many servings it takes for a meal, you have discovered whether you'll be able to stand eating this food in an emergency. Your next and final step to be sure you have enough food is to compare the number and size of containers that you have to the number and size of containers for that same quantity of food on Steve Shenk's My Farm in a Box website. This because all the My Farm in a Box serving amounts are calculated at 1 full cup of prepared food. For example, if you have what you believe to be a 3-month supply for one person from any other supplier than one of Steve Shenk's companies, i.e. My Farm in a Box, you can be certain that if the quantities match the 3-month supply for My Farm in a Box, you will have the amount of food that you paid for.